So I found out that there was a beta test going on for um, Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, and I'm a pretty big fan of those games. I've played a lot of the older ones. The first Phantasy Star on Dreamcast, I played so much, and I think I played Phantasy Star Universe even more than that. So yeah, I was like, definitely want to check out this beta for it, right? I think it was like a stress test or something. So I went to check it out, and it looks like I have to use a Microsoft Store. Despite that, the game surprisingly downloaded pretty quick through there. I kind of just like quickly made a character and hopped on, tried to get as much as I can done since it's only like 2 days long. The character creation looked really good. Before we really started doing anything, we were kind of trying to figure out like how to get on the same block as one another. And then we found out later that you actually have to like progress a certain amount in the main line before you can even do that. I'm not sure exactly the reasoning behind wanting to like restrict access to that. This game is actually open world this time, so you can see here when I actually like change zone, there's just like a barrier and you like walk through it. Sometimes it'll have like, I noticed it more when I first started playing, like a little hiccup, like it tries to like kind of load in that zone. Most of the time it's pretty seamless. You can like fly between zones. I've even like flown through 2 zones like without touching the ground. It's really cool. One thing that's not as cool is the controls are a little bit abysmal. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but there were some things about it that just didn't seem right. I had to remap it, and after I did, it was really comfortable. Like sprint and dodge have different keys on this, so like I set my dodge to my right click, and I set the right click that was like a skill, I set that to E instead, and it just made like shift my sprint. It feels way more like intuitive that way, for me at least. You can also like hold down your dodge key and then continue holding forward, and it'll like put you into this sprint mode. While in this kind of like mobility mode, you get a lot more flexibility to what you can do exactly, and like the range of your movement and stuff. The combat feels really smooth. At first, it almost felt like it lacked depth, but then when I played it a little bit more and noticed that you can like hold shift to switch to a different set of skills, you can take skills over from other classes for like a subclassing thing. You can like use the mobility that I was talking about before, sort of like to work in with your combat to give you like more options and stuff. A lot of the skills even have like alternate uses as well. So like this flame circle skill, for example, like I just thought it was so trash at first, but then it was like, wow, if you're really up on somebody, it hits them a lot of times and does really decent damage. So I started end up using that a lot. And then that same skill, you can like hold down the click and aim at something, and it'll create like a flame circle of sorts. So it like a pillar of fire that will just like keep striking an enemy in that same spot. It's actually pretty fun that the combat is somewhat dynamic like that. There was certain like domains or like challenges too I found in a few different places. There was one that was like super strong that I planned to come back towards the end. There was, I think my favorite one though was there was like a speed test one where like you have to navigate through a thing as quickly as possible, and there's like also some objectives like don't hover more than a certain number of times or don't fall more than a certain number of times, stuff like that, or clear it in under a certain amount of time. That was really fun. I kind of found myself getting a little stuck, like really wanting to like see how far I could get that time down. I did manage to get it like just under a minute. I did put that on my random junk channel too, if anybody wanted to see that. Also, I noticed every time you hit escape too, you can see this like sort of power level that will go up depending on like the stuff you equip and the level you are and like all your stuff that you have set up to kind of show how strong you are. I thought that was pretty interesting. They have these new sorts of like emergency quests that are really cool. Like a bunch of people like meet up and they'll split them off into like smaller groups where they'll fight like a big mob together. And you will need like a certain power level requirement to like enter, which is kind of an interesting concept as well, instead of just limiting it by like straight level. So I was kind of getting to the point where I was running out of time too. It was such a short test. It really came down to I was going to either be able to hit what seemed like soft cap for a class on the beta, which was 15, and go back and do that like domain I was talking about that was really strong, or do something a little different, like see if I could break through the barrier and like get out of bounds. So I decided to go with that. It made sense to me. So you can see here I kind of just go around the entire map, trying to see if I can find any kind of vulnerability in the barrier anywhere where I could maybe like squeak under it or something. And they did a really good job sealing everything off. And at this point, like the only thing I could think left of trying was I noticed that if you're playing as a force and you're swinging your weapon for like basic attack in the air and you just hold it down, you would actually gain forward momentum without descending. So I found like one of the highest points on the map I could, and just did an auto attack all the way out to this spot where I knew there was like an off color wall. There was a blue one over there. So I figured I'd try both walls and just see if I could go over the wall. And sure enough, it wasn't. There's no way. They really did a good job with it. I flew around up there for a while looking for a way through. I ended up just like noticing this spot under where I'd have to like almost like load in the red wall as you're moving like vertically. So I tried to see if I could just like basically dodge in the air to move down quickly to see if I could get under the wall before it loaded, but it's like it seems like it's there whether you can see it or not, so I didn't have any luck with that. But yeah, it was a really good time. It was a lot of fun. If I had any kind of like nitpicks or anything like that, I guess the way you feed your mag in this, where you go out and find it, there's a specific shrine like out on the walls you talk to and then give it food and stuff. It seems like a little unintuitive. Maybe I just need more time getting used to it or something, but I feel like maybe there would be a smoother way to do that. The photon arts, I couldn't really figure out how to level these in this version. I don't know if it wasn't available yet or something. I know in pso2 you had to like actually find a higher skill version of the disc basically and use it, and that would give you the higher version of that skill. But in PSU it was like you'd actually use the skill, and the more you would use it, it would increase the level and make you better with it and give you like extensions to the skill and stuff. I hope they kind of opt out for the latter on that. I don't know. We'll see what happens with it either way. One thing that did really bug me a lot though is the UI, and it's not even that the UI is bad. The UI is actually really good. It's really clean and it looks nice. The problem is that you can't reorganize any of it from what I found. I would have people tell me you could like type hide UI or something and the time that you want it to be hidden for, but it was like no matter what I tried, it would just hide itself for like 5 seconds and come back, and it's probably my biggest gripe, so that's not bad. I think the consumables on the floor, like the monomate and stuff, or the atomizers, that's a really cool idea. I don't know though if I think I almost feel like that if you're full on that item, that it shouldn't even show for you, because it's like the scenery in the game is just so good that it almost feels like it would like just lift it if that was not necessary to be there at the time that it's just not, you know. I'm pretty sure I used some kind of ticket at some point or something that like allowed me to like trade and access rooms, similar to how they kind of paywalled it in pso2. I really hope that they don't do that in this version. PSU, part of like what made it like so awesome for people, I feel like, was just like that you could go do all these things like the missions and leveling your characters too, but then you had like this personal space that you could work up. You could attach a shop to it, sell your stuff, and with like an online game like this, like paywalling something like trading or your own personal space there, it is like, I don't know. I don't think that's great. I think there's other ways to monetize something that's without having to take away from the game like that. All in all, though, it seems like a really great foundation. It has like so much less like bulk content, obviously, than something like pso2 that's been around for like 10 years or something. But what they do have there is really clean. It's really nice, and if they like build upon it the right way, it could be really great. I'm excited for whenever it comes out. I'll definitely play launch a bit and see how that is. But I'm gonna go now. Please don't support Nintendo. Bye.